So the next fundamental practice, I think, is journaling. And again, it doesn't have to be, you're not writing a novel here, you know. It's not for anybody's eyes but your own. And it might only be for your own eyes that one time that you're writing it. You might not ever look at it again. I suggest you do every every few months or so just go back and like look through your journal. One thing I found that helps me do is that helps me see is like, wow, I made a lot of progress. Like I was like such a nervous wreck back several months ago, and look how much I've improved. I didn't even realize it, that kind of thing. So, but what do you write and what do you say, and like how long do you spend? Again, I do 7 minutes a day. You can do like 10 minutes. You can do 1 minute. It's like whatever works for you. So, what do you actually write? Look, I keep it simple. I think it's just best to keep it simple. It's like I write whatever I'm thinking about. If a thought crosses my mind, I write it down. Writing, I think, is important. It's if you can, it's better to physically handwrite your journal. There's something about the connection between the mind and the hand and the paper that is helpful, and I don't entirely understand it, but it's there, and it really does work, and it really does help. So you write whatever you're thinking about. Another thing you'd write about is what's going on in your life. So I think it's a twofold thing. Write down what's happening, and write down what your reaction to what is happening. All right. So those two components combined are really form the meat of your journal. So this is what's going on going on in my life. This is how I feel about it. You do that every day. This is what's happening. This is how I feel about it. And then anything else that's popping up in your mind, I'm worried about this. It's like, I feel like that, or what if sometimes I get ideas. Hey, what about this idea? What if I do blah, 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 blah? So there's a lot of useful things that come up. To me, one of the main points of journaling is getting your thoughts out of your head and pinning them, nailing them in place so that you can examine them more carefully. And then you may become aware of certain thought patterns or certain just bad thoughts that you're having. And then you can start working on them. You can do something about it. You can start using other Hermetic principles, psychological principles to like deal with those things. So it's important to keep this private because, you want to be able to write down your nastiest, darkest junk that you could possibly think of. And you don't want anybody reading that shit. Okay. So keep it private. But by keeping it private, that gives you the permission to say whatever and just get it out. Lastly, your journal doesn't have to be anything special as far as like, an expensive book or whatever. You get a plain notebook. To me, the plainer the better. Because I go through a lot of paper and I'm like, I don't want it to, you don't want to associate your journal with like, okay, this is special paper, a special book. I got to have special thoughts. You want to be able to write anything. You want to be able to write the crappiest, just junk, whatever is going on in your mind. You want to just be able to write it out. So you don't want to have to think about, or you don't want to have any of those thoughts of like, this is a special journal. No, just write it out. Keep it. If you're worried about your privacy, what I would suggest is maybe you can type it into a computer file that's encrypted or something like that at a later time. It's like once a week, gather all of your journal entries, type them all up, and then burn your journal or whatever, But yeah, you want to keep that away from prying eyes, and you want to, basically, you want to know in your heart that it is safe, that writing in your journal is a safe place, okay? So you want to make sure that nobody gets their hands on it. And that's really it. Just write down what you're thinking, what's going on, how you feel about it. Spend 5 minutes maybe a day, and I think you'll be amazed at the results. Keep that up for like a month. See what happens.